Yes, people, and welcome back to the Armoury TV on what can only be described as a good day. I mean, it's Friday, we're top of the league, and we've had some really positive news over the last couple of days. But before we get into it, obviously, I'm joined by the man himself, Tony. How you doing, bro?
I'm all good. Second time today. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, listen. We pump out this content, man. We do our thing, man. So I'm gonna run the intro, and then we're gonna get right into it. Yes, like I said, yes, people. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to the Armoury TV. I'm GTalks, and like I said, I'm joined by Tony. And yeah, man, happy Friday, everyone. We thought we'd jump on and do a bit of an ad hoc show, obviously, because of the positive news coming out of the Premier League and Arsenal today, which is obviously Bukayo Saka has won his first ever. I was actually surprised by that, but his first ever player of the month. Because I'll be honest, I Googled it to find out how many he'd won. And I realized it was the first one he'd won. So his first ever Player of the Month award, and Mikel Arteta's fourth of just this season. So we'll start with, obviously, Starboy, Bukayo Saka, winning his first Premier League Player of the Month. I mean, there's a lot of talk about Saka at the moment. We even did a show on Albert JTV last night, and we discussed the whole kind of, is Saka world class, that kind of debate, etc. But yeah, obviously, just after the news broke, we were in the WhatsApp chat, obviously doing our thing. How are you feeling about it?
It's well deserved this month. Yeah, no, it's well deserved, 100%. He's had a terrific month, not just for Arsenal, for England as well. So he's showing. Yeah. I mean, all season he's been consistent all season, but he has really shone in this past month. And it's beautiful to see. There was a lot of talk beforehand that he needs to add goals to his game and stuff, and he's doing that. He's doing that this season alone. The record speaks for itself. Like you said, you obviously mentioned you were on Albert JTV yesterday, talking about him for his world class. There's a lot of talk. Of course, One Touch TV again last night. We're talking about it, and he's been recognised by a lot of people now, which is something. When it comes to world class talk, I want to say he's performing at a world class level right now. I don't want to say it just because he's young. Too much pressure on the kid, but he's been clutch for us this season. I mentioned earlier in the preview that when we were talking about him, and there was that Everton game. It was 0-0 for quite a while, wasn't it? And he come up with that goal like out of nowhere, and it opened things up, and that's what he does. That's what's so important about the guy.
No, I hear that, man. I hear that. And on that note, we're joined by James. I'm going to bring him in to the show. How you doing, James?
Oh,
is he there? Or is his internet playing up? I'm not sure. Maybe not. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you when it comes to Bukayo Saka. I mean, there's a lot of talk between Arsenal fans. There's a lot of talk between rival fans. Some of it, I'd say even a lot of it is actually. Are you with us, James?
Yeah. My internet disappeared as soon as it was like, I'm bringing you on. It was like, no
problem. Listen, it happens, man. Technical issues. But yeah, we're literally just touching on obviously the Saka stuff, but we'll pause it there. How are you though, bro? You all good, yeah?
Yeah, man. Good. Just woken up. So yeah, living life. I'm doing good. Hope you guys are as well.
Great news to wake up to, James?
Yeah, well, as I said, I start my new job in 2 weeks, so I'm making the most of it. So yeah.
Listen, you got to, man. You got to, because once that job starts, that's it. Bang, 9 to 5.
7 a.m. Yep.
Jeez. But yeah, Tony just kind of gave us his thoughts on obviously Bukayo Saka, obviously winning Player of the Month. as we've seen, our streams, other streams, tweets, WhatsApp groups, Twitter groups, there's a lot of talk about him in terms of his performances, in terms of, is he world class? Is he not world class? What does he have to do to be considered world class? What does he have to achieve for us to even have this conversation? And I think everybody kind of sits in a different position in terms of that conversation. But let's focus on obviously the month he had, and obviously the award he's been given. I said to Tony before you jumped on the show that I was actually surprised it was his first ever Player of the Month award. I googled it because I wanted to know how many, and I realized it was his first. So yeah, give me your thoughts on obviously Saka winning his first ever Player of the Month award.
Yeah, that surprises me as well. I thought he'd won a couple. Apparently not, but yeah, fair enough. It's about time, to be honest.
I know, come on.
Yeah, he's having a cracking season, so I thought he would have had a couple already this year, but maybe not. Yeah, he's just been unbelievable. I think it was 4 games, 5 goals and assists collectively, I think. So yeah, man, it's whenever we need someone to step up, he's always there, and he's just consistent, and that's what I like about him. He's not the Neymars or the Usman Dembele's of the world where you're just like, wow, okay, they get you off your feet. But for me, he's just 90% of the time he's an 8 or 9 out of 10, and he's just he's incredible.
Yeah, I hear you. And you know what? We're going to touch upon a little bit of that world class debate. I think it's only right we do, because I know Tony, you sitting on the fence a little bit there. So I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you for an answer. We did a show, like I said, we've done a couple of streams on other channels, our channel, about this whole debate about Saka. And I mean, when you look at the stats, like some of the stats that I looked at, I was really surprised just how well he has progressed. I mean, when he came into the side in his first full season, he got 16 goals and assist contributions. That then grew. The following season, it was 17, it was 19. And then this season, he's already on 23. In that time, he's performed at the World Cup. He's performed at the Euros, arguably our best performer in an England shirt. He became England Player of the Year over arguably some world-class players that are in that side. So, I mean, the consistency is there. The progression is there. He's doing it on a world stage. He's doing it in the Premier League, which is arguably, if not arguably, the best and most exciting league in world football. So, first of all, I'm gonna say, what does he need to do to become world class? And in your opinion, is he world class? I'll come to you first, James.
Yeah, simple answer. He is world class because when you're the best in your position in the world, then you have to be world class, right? He's the best right winger in the world, and I won't hear anything otherwise. He is the best right winger in the world currently. Yep. And people will be like, oh, he hasn't performed in Europe. Well, he hasn't had the opportunity to in the Champions League. But as you've mentioned, when every single competition really that he's been put in front of, as you said, the Euros, the World Cup, has he done well? Has he stood out? Has he been arguably the best player in our team? Arguably the most important player in the team, both nationally and for Arsenal? Yes. He's doing this all at the age of 21. So I feel like I can understand people being like, maybe not, because I feel like he hasn't done it long enough. But as you just mentioned, 17, 19, and then 23 this season in terms of goals and assists, right?
Yeah.
That's 3 consistent seasons showing improvement. And as I said, he's only 21. So for me, I'm just going to, my introductory point, if you're the best player in the world in your position, how can you not be world class?
Yeah. And it's a really good point that you said that, because that was one of the things I said on Albert JTV's stream, was that for me, he's the most informed right winger. I can't think of any other right winger right now in world football that I would put ahead of him.
No,
people are having the conversation of right now, from this current Arsenal side, he is the one player that would get into the invincible side, over Lundberg. So, I mean, if you can't think of a better player in his position right now, if you're talking about him, going into that invincible side that, maybe at the beginning of this season would have been unheard of. I mean, this is why I asked the question, what more does he have to do? Because I can't honestly think what more there is to do on and off the pitch for him to be considered world class. Because, I mean, some might say he's got to win a major trophy. Some might say he's got to lead his team to the Premier League. Some might say he's got to, do this in the Champions League. But, since when does the Champions League trump the World Cup or the Euros? I don't know when that happened, but for some reason, rival fans have decided that the Champions League is the epitome of football, and the World Cup and the Euros isn't. Is that because we're talking about Saka, or is that just because that's the way people see it? I mean, for me, I don't think there's a single competition in world football that trumps the World Cup. So I don't know. I'll come to you, Tony. Obviously, you've heard my thoughts. You've heard what James said. What does he have to do to be considered? What more does he have to do to be considered world class? And in your opinion, is he?
I think that I did say. I think at the moment he's playing at that level. He is playing at the level of world class. That he can only play who he's only playing against at the moment.
Yeah.
As you said, he's shown it in the World Cup. He's shown it in the Euros. And he's come a long way. Remember that penalty miss in the Euro final. And some players can never come back from that.
100%.
At a very young age, he's managed to do that. Now, I can understand some narratives that, okay, he's done it here, he's done it there. Not necessarily done it in finals, but we've only reached one final. And he was really, really young then. But look, the narrative Champions League, I think it's more rival fans trying to banter us, trying to to suit their narrative because we've not played in the Champions League for so long. But as I said before, he's come up with clutch moments. Whenever we needed something to happen, he's come up with the goods. I spoke about Everton. There's that goal against Man United. There's top of my head. There's we scored 2 against Palace.
Yeah.
Which again we didn't start too great in that game either. But he comes up. So I just think I can understand people. I'm not saying that all rival fans are saying that. Like you've got Colm here saying who's a Man United fan saying not world class yet. I can understand some people maybe reserving judgment because of how old he is.
Yeah.
And I get it, but see Mbappe, he's been world class since he was 19.
Yeah.
And as James correctly pointed out, name us a better right winger right now in world football.
Well, this is it.
So why he tops that list? That would then suggest that he's at an elite world class level. So, and because we've seen it in the World Cup, because we've seen it in Euros, why can't he do it in the Champions League?
Well, this is it. And if you think about it, like James said, like you said, like I've said, I mean, there isn't a better, more informed right winger in world football. And I would go on to say, I don't think there is a right winger out there more valuable in terms of price tag than Saka right now. God only knows what he's actually worth in this market.
I think I'd even agree and say there's not an attacker, not even just a right winger. There's not an attacker in Europe that's worth more than him right now. Especially if he signs the contract. If he signs that 5-year deal, there's not an attacker that's worth more than him.
Crazy money. And something you said there.
Started at left back as well.
Yeah. And something you said there, Tony, which, really hits the nail on the head, and it's something I mentioned in another show, is about those clutch moments. And I can't remember who tweeted it. I can't remember who it was. Apologies. But they were actually talking about those clutch moments. And it was when, he has the second most goals and assists from a position of when he's playing for Arsenal and the scores are level. So, he is assisting, he is scoring when the scores are level, which are then turning into victories and turning into points gained. The only other player in world football that's got more than him at the moment this season is Messi. He's got 14. Saka has 12. The other players underneath him is Osimhen, Griezmann, and I've forgotten the last. Oh, Neymar was the other one. So, I mean, everything we're saying, it kind of baffles me that we're even having this conversation. And I do think a lot of it is to do with people having with their narratives of age, the club he plays for, etc., etc. But it is what it is. He's doing his thing. And to be honest, I'll be frank, I don't really care if people don't think he's world class, because it really is irrelevant. As long as he's doing the business for us, and that form continues as it's done over the last 4 seasons, I might add, then it's all good. If you don't think he's world class, it is what it is.
The thing I don't understand is, how can you hate him anyway?
bro.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
How many great players out there who even as humble as he is? He's not arrogant. All right, okay. Man United fans may be a little bit triggered with that, but you know, where he copied Rashford. But you just can't hate the guy. No. Like, if you saw him in the street, you just want to go up to him and give him a cuddle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't understand the hate for like you said. I think it's down to the fact that he's Arsenal. That's what it is.
Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, man, congratulations, obviously, to Bukayo Saka. First Premier League, player of the award. One of many. Probably get more, hopefully, this season. But yeah, going into next season, I'm sure there'll be more to follow. But we'll move swiftly on over to what can only be described as an amazing achievement for Mikel Arteta. Obviously, the process started however many years ago. It's not been plain sailing the whole way through. But, we're sitting top of the league with an 8-point gap, albeit City have a game in hand. And he was awarded earlier today his 4th Manager of the Month award. He's won August, he's won November/December, won January most recently, and obviously the month of March. So I'll come to you first, Tony. Just sum up this award, 1 of 4 for Arteta, and just the job he's doing at the moment at Arsenal.
It's just a recognition how he's turned it around. The club stayed with him. The clubs believed in what he was trying to do, alongside with Edu and the coaching staff, because it's not just him. Remember, but it's showing that how consistent we've been performing. You mentioned those months there, so August, November, December, January, and March. It's not all back to back, really, is it? It's all, So it just shows how consistent he's been. I know a lot of people who aren't Arsenal fans won't like him because of his touchline antics, but that's what the guy shows passion, right? And that's what I want to see. As a fan, you want to see it. But no, it's fully deserved. He's got players that he wants. He's got players that believe in his system, players that want to play for him, and that's all you can ask for. And the awards are just. I mean, I'm pretty sure he loves the awards, but there's only one he's after.
100%, bro. 100%. James, give me your thoughts on obviously Arteta's 4th Manager of the Month award. The month of March, obviously. How are you feeling about the job he's doing?
Light work, innit? I mean, that's what you expect when you're top of the league. That's the expectations, isn't it? My concern is how we respond now, because there's a thing going on with I don't know. I'm pretty sure you're aware that every time he's won Manager of the Month award, the next game after he's won it, we haven't won.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. United, Everton, Brentford.
Okay.
So, yeah. That's all I'm concerned about.
You had to throw that in there, James, didn't you?
Well, I mean,
that's what Coleman said as well. This is what Coleman in the comments said.
It's a trend, isn't it? It's a trend, isn't it? And at the end of the day, it's one of those things where you can't ignore. Ultimately, it's a trend, isn't it? So I guess we'll see how things progress. Obviously, against Leeds. Before we kind of move on, because I think maybe we kind of even touch upon that game. I know we did a preview last night. Check that out if you haven't already. But I mean, in terms of Mikel Arteta and how he's doing, I'm not a hypocrite. I've always said I was not fully behind the appointment. I thought he was too young. I thought he was too inexperienced. I even called him a rookie. Because for me, I see Arsenal managerial job as one of the biggest in world football. And I just thought, how can you give it to somebody who's never managed a football club? Yes, he's been an assistant. Yes, he's learned his trade under the likes of Wenger and Pep Guardiola. But there's nothing like, you can sit next to a brilliant driver, but until you're actually in the driving seat and driving yourself, it's a completely different ballgame. So I did not think we would ever be in this position where we would be sitting top of the league, and he would have been winning 4, Manager of the Month awards. Did you envision this, James, at any point, or has this somewhat revolution or process coming together somewhat surprised and shocked you?
No, I mean, there's evidence of me saying this in streams in the summer in pre-season. I said and I called it that I expect us to lose 5 games this season, max. We've lost 3, and that is video evidence. It's in a stream. I don't know which stream it is, but
you did. I remember very well.
So yeah, no, I'll be real. I didn't expect us to be challenging for a title or be favourites. I expected us to be third because in my prediction, I thought there was 2 teams that were better than us: City and Liverpool. Liverpool have fell by the wayside, and City haven't. Well, they've been as good as last season. I think we've just been better. Not to discredit us. So yeah, I'm not surprised. It's come earlier than when I expected it. Because even though I expected us to be doing well and to be excited in this summer, I'm not going to guess it. I'm not going to be like, yeah, we're going to win the title. No, it's. I said to be excited for this season, and it's delivered. It's delivered more than even I thought. So, yeah, it's concrete proof of what I believed, but it's only since this summer that I was really like, okay, look, we're on to something. So I was like you. So there was a stream me and Canners did where we lost 5-0 at home to City. And I said, look, if he doesn't sort it out, he's got to go. And that was the how I'm pretty sure every Arsenal fan was feeling after
at some point in
games,
time,
right?
Yeah.
So there was doubts. But to the point that you've said about how you view Arsenal's job as one of the biggest in the world, I agree because I'm an Arsenal fan and I hold our club is in that stature. But historically, if you're looking at Arsenal, since when have we appointed really world-class managers? It's the same with players. We don't buy world-class, we make world-class. That is Arsenal's football club, right? So I want that trend to change, not with the managerial, with the players that we're going forward. I want to buck that trend and I want to buy the best of the best in the world. But historically, we've call it luck, call it like, I don't know, some fifth sense that you're just like, right, okay, this guy's going to be good. We're going to hire him and we can see it. So yeah, that's my viewpoint on it.
I hear you. I'll come to you in a second, Tony. Just 2 comments here from Luke. Big up, Luke. When we gave Arteta the job in December 2019, I said we could end up with Big Sam if this goes wrong quickly. Luke also, when James says be excited, we should pay attention. Than when Josh said it in 2019. So, Tony, over to you. The same question, really. I mean, I didn't envision it. I'm over the moon that we're in the position we're in. But, you know, how well we're doing and more particularly Arteta's performance as manager, is this something you envisioned or have you just been completely blown away and surprised by just how well he's managing this football club?
Let's go back to when Arsene Wenger left. And obviously there was first whispers of him coming in then instead of Unai Emery.
Yeah.
So the club must have seen something. I always know that players that played with Arteta would always say that he was very intelligent. He knew ball and things like that. He obviously went off to Man City, did his thing there, assistant coach. Under Pep as well. I mean, who else better to work under? Learnt more going there. Obviously, learnt whilst he was with Wenger as captain here. But look, when Emery went and he came in, I was a little bit open-minded because I knew we wanted to go for him beforehand. So I thought, okay, maybe they've seen something. He come in, it wasn't a great time. You look at the players that we had. I thought, okay, we'll give him a little bit of time. We'll see what happens. The time where I was probably Arteta out was when those first 3 games of that season we lost. We were bottom of the league. Spurs were top of the league. And, when you see things like that as an Arsenal fan, you're going to react. You're going to, you go right straight to the manager, get him out.
Yeah.
As the season went on last season, you started to see things. You had the Aubameyang situation. This is all before we watched the documentary, by the way. But we could see what was going on, so you started getting rid of the so much Deadwood, but the what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, so he's moved them on. You kind of see what kind of system that he wanted to implement in the team as the season went on. We fell short at the end of the season because injuries played a massive part in that. 2 results in particular, Newcastle Spurs, didn't help us. And then the documentary came on. At that point, I was like 50-50, so I'm not too sure. But I'm going to ask you guys this. Without the documentary, would we remain patient? No, not remain patient, but be as patient as we were. Would we have had the belief, we're going to have a better season this season, or we're going to have more of the same?
In my opinion, I would say it did wonders in terms of my perception of Mikel Arteta, the club, the process, and even the players. I think it was obviously I'm in the business of an industry of branding and social media, so I know how important it is to put out content, to shed some light, be authentic, let people see a side of a corporation or a business or the people behind that organization, how it works, how it ticks, because people buy into people. So it was an absolute masterstroke. I absolutely enjoyed it, even though I knew the beginning, the middle, and the end of how the documentary was going to go in terms of results. But yeah, it was almost like I was building a relationship with the staff, the coach, the players, which sounds crazy because I'm watching the TV screen, but it felt like I was building a relationship or falling in love with these players, these coaches, these staff, all over again, or for the first time. So for me, I think after the disappointment of last season, I think that All or Nothing documentary for me really gave me a lot of hope going into the following season and excitement about that. And I think that was also backed up a lot with our preseason form. What I saw in preseason in the way we were dispatching teams was phenomenal. However, I was reluctant to get too excited because at the end of the day, as we were told, it was just preseason. So I didn't want to get too much ahead of myself. But I think the preseason we had with the release of the documentary, for me to answer your question, it really did kind of give me a sense of hope, and also a little bit more patience going into the season after the disappointment of missing out on top four. To you, James, I'll put Tony's question. Did the All or Nothing documentary, before we kind of wrap things up, did the All or Nothing documentary for you give you that tad bit more patience and belief that we were really onto something going into the season?
I would say slightly less so than I think it had on U2, because I don't know, I was trusting from the very beginning, and maybe I'm trusting because it's naivety, because I've never experienced what you guys have experienced. And when I say that, is in I was alive when we won major honors, but I don't remember them and I didn't live through it. Right. So this is my first time going through what you'd expect. But no, I mean, from everything that we've heard, from what people have been saying, I don't know. I like to listen to people that are in the industry and what they have to say about Arteta. Before even Arteta was managing, Pochettino was calling him a genius. Same with fucking Wenger. Same with Guardiola. Even Klopp at some point said he's a very talented manager, right? And the work he's done at City, player development, this and that. I just think it was, once you made those signings in the summer, once we were just like, right, okay, look, now we have a team. There's nobody that I really felt that was just like, oh, we have to deal with him again for another year. When we were at that stage, I was confident, and that's why I said we should be excited, because there was just quality all over. But I just guess it gave me an insight into Arteta's a bit wacky side, his ingenuity, and how he gets people going, how he gets people in the mood, and this and that, because it's an interesting site, because I don't know, he uses a light bulb, or he uses Ivan Toney's tweets. Other historic managers have used different methods. I don't know, Johan Cruyff used to get into arguments with his star players to piss them off and rile them up for games. Ferguson was the hairdryer effect. Every manager has it. It's nice to see an insight into how he does that and how he generates the morale in the dressing room. So I enjoyed it. It was a good documentary.
I hear you. And breaking news, while we've been on there, is it's 3-3 for Arsenal. Ramsdale has won Save of the Month for his what arguably people will say his match-winning save against Brentford. I believe we were 1-0 down at the time when Brentford hit us on the counter-attack, and he made that amazing save, which kept us in the game. albeit we went 2-0 down and we still came back to win the game 3-2 with Reece Nelson. But that has been awarded officially by the Premier League as save of the month. So quick thoughts on that before we wrap up. I thought we had to touch on it because it popped up on my screen. So James, I'll come to you first. Just thoughts on obviously that save in that game and obviously Ramsdale and the season he's having.
I mean, I'm having a cracking season. I'm kidding. It was great save. I didn't think he was getting there. But yeah, he's having a fantastic season and he's proven a lot of people wrong, me included. Keep doing what you're doing, my guy, and just I don't know, bring the title home because we're going to need you in the next 8 games.
100%. We're going to need some clean sheets if we're going to get over the line. Tony, over to you. Ramsdale, that save and the season he's having.
Okay, we just finished on the Arteta thing quickly. So after the documentary, I was giving him this season to get his top 4, but we're doing a lot better than that. So, right, I'll wrap that up quickly. So that's my stance on Arteta. As for Ramsdale, he's been brilliant. I don't know why some people still have questions on him. I still see it. I don't know why. When he first came to the club, I was one of the people that backed him. I was like, clearly they see something there. Obviously, you think of how many saves he's had to make whilst being relegated twice. He's been brilliant for us this season. There was also that save against Bournemouth as well, which no one talks about. I know they still went 2-0 up, but at that stage of the game, it was a massive, massive save. So he's come up big so many times this season. So I've been really, really, really pleased with him, and I think he's going to be. He should be in the number 1 now, but obviously Southgate has his favourites. But listen, if he doesn't play him, it's no problem for us. We don't mind. I'm overall, 3 awards.
Happy days. And that more or less kind of wraps up our show. I mean, it's a really good day for us, man. Manager of the month, player of the month, save of the month is all good. Quickly, I'm just going to get, I know we did a preview, but while we're here, I'm just going to get a score prediction for you from both of you for the Leeds game tomorrow. And just a quick update on team news. Saliba, quoted from Arteta, is he's progressing. Unfortunately, he still has a bit of discomfort, so he's not going to be playing against Leeds. However, he does say he's very hopeful that Saliba will play again this season. And then he goes on to say about Gabriel Jesus, he's very close to being 100% again. Pretty much match fit. They're the 2 updates at the moment because I think he's currently doing his press conference as we speak. So just quick thoughts, Tony. I'll come to you first on the Saliba injury and give me a score prediction for tomorrow's game.
Saliba, it's a concern. It is a concern. He's been one of our standout players at the back. Obviously, I've got my love for Holding. There are certain games that I would rather have Saliba playing, i.e. Liverpool. Mm-hmm. But listen, if we can get the best out of Holding, which I think we can, I think he can step up. We should be fine. I don't think Saliba is going to be back for a while now, by what I'm reading today. But at this moment in time, we don't know the facts. All we know is that he won't be playing tomorrow. So on tomorrow, I obviously done the preview this morning with Bobby and Luke. I went squeaky bum. I went 3-2. I got a feeling it's going to be one of those edgy games. Leeds are fighting for their lives. We've got a habit of letting goals in at home. And again, it all depends what happens with the Man City Liverpool game first. Obviously, that's at lunchtime. So
it's going to have a big bearing on it, isn't it?
That could be a factor. But I said as well, whether City win, lose, or draw, it's pressure. It doesn't matter which way. It's still pressure.
Still pressure. Yeah. I hear you. James, over to you. Thoughts on obviously the comments from Arteta about Saliba, and give us a score prediction for tomorrow's game.
It's a concern, but I feel like he'll be back. We'll have to see. I don't know. Arteta does this all the time. I know Trossard's out for 4 weeks, so he plays the next game and then goes on international break to Belgium. Like, come on. So I don't know. We'll have to see. From everything that I've read, it's like a game-by-game thing. And they might even be able to get him through games. Look, I'll be honest. If we can get Saliba in the 2 biggest games left of the season, I'm very comfortable with Rob Holding playing the other 8. Like, he's shown me every time I critiqued him that he's a solid centre back, especially against teams that we should be beating. Let's be real. He's a defense first defender. And I know that doesn't make much sense considering that's what defenders are meant to be doing. But with Arsenal, it's everything else, the whole shebang, technical control, passing, all of this. So I'm confident. I don't think the result, whatever will happen with City, win, lose, draw, I'm confident we're going to win this. We may be missing Saliba, but then again, Leeds are missing 3 crucial players. Their Nonto isn't available. Tyler Adams isn't available, and their best defender isn't available either. I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to go 3-1. That's my prediction. But again, my desk is made out of wood. I'm touching wood. Whenever I do a score prediction, 9 times out of 10, it's bad for us. So fingers crossed. But I'm confident.
I hear you. So that pretty much kind of wraps everything up. I mean,
what about you?
I mean, I got to be honest. I am concerned. Reading between the lines of what Arteta has said, I think he will be out for longer than just the Leeds game. But as James said, I mean, it could be a little bit of mind games. It could be just kind of not. Arteta doesn't always necessarily reveal his hand. He's quite good, a bit of a poker player, isn't he? So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But I have confidence in the squad. I haven't always. But this season, more than most, the squad has proven to me, players have proven to me that they've come in under big pressure and they've done jobs. Reece Nelson has come on and saved us more than once. Rob Holding, every time he's come into the side, notably, against City in the Cup, first half, he was brilliant. Against Fulham, we were worried. He had a fantastic game. So, I mean, it's just a case of trusting the squad. To win a title, you've got to use your squad. You won't win it with 11 players. So that's what we've got to do against Leeds. And for me, I'm going to go 3-0. I think we're going to get a clean sheet. And I think we're going to score a couple. We don't seem to have a problem scoring goals. We're at home. We've got a good home record. And as James said, they've got some really key players missing. My only fear is that they're going to come and they're going to park 20 double-decker buses in front of our goal, in front of their goal. So we're going to have to use our guile and our creativity to break them down. But I think if we can get an early goal, I think the floodgates will open and I think we'll run away with it. That's my prediction. But we'll see.
Earlier, my main concern is probably the right-hand side with Somerville up against Zinchenko. That'd be my only concern.
Yeah, we'll see. Reaction-wise, we are going to have a reaction show. We're not sure. Is it definitely going to be tomorrow after the game?
Hopefully, obviously, Gums Over is usually the reaction
guy. Yeah.
But he's currently in the middle of a move, so
I hear you.
We do have a backup plan, so hopefully we'll get something tomorrow.
Wicked. So we will have a reaction show of some sort tomorrow. So obviously, do stay peeled to the socials and obviously your YouTube for any updates on that. If for whatever reason you haven't liked the stream, please do so. For whatever reason you haven't subscribed, please do that. And if you have subscribed, tell another Gooner, whether it's a family member, a friend, or work colleague, to subscribe as well. We're closing down on that 1K really swiftly. And it would be good to get it before the end of the season over the next 10 games. So thank you so much for your continued support. Any last words from you, James?
No, man. Just big up the Gunners and get this 3 points. That's the main thing.
I hear that, bro. And Tony?
Come on, Arsenal. And I'm going to say it quietly. Come on, Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, this weekend, I'm a Liverpool fan. This weekend, as always, I'm a Gooner. So, on that note, have a good day. And come on, you Gooners. Take it easy.